as the king sits there and tells all of his minions in the Republican Party to do his bidding. In Texas, they finally got their bidding done.
House Republicans just passed their severely gerrymandered congressional map, the request of Donald Trump. The vote was 88 to 52. All 88 yes votes came from Republicans, all 52 no votes from Democrats. The map creates 5 new GOP-leaning districts before next year's crucial midterm elections. Let's be clear, this is a ploy to retain power, nothing more, as Americans sour on Trump's MAGA agenda.
The underlying goal of this plan is straightforward: improve Republican political performance. Each of these newly drawn districts now trend Republican in political performance. While there's no guarantee of an electorate success, Republicans will now have an opportunity to potentially win these districts.
So that's State Representative Todd Hunter down in Texas, who was a part of these Republicans that just passed this extraordinarily gerrymandered map that they've been fighting with Democrats who left the state for a week or two, now finally got done. And he openly admitted their entire objective is to improve Republican political performance. So they have to rig the system in order to improve their performance. I feel like their performance is also why so many of their wives are very upset with them. But still, they want now the opportunity to win some seats. While he's doing that, there's real life situations that they're ignoring, that they have ignored, and that they apparently continue to want to ignore.
We are the parents of Seal Stewart, the only camper from Camp Mystic still missing. For Seal, camp meant adventure, memories, friendships, and lessons to carry for a lifetime. For me, it meant watching my child grow and learn, but always under the assurance that she would be safe. But that assurance was betrayed. Obvious common sense safety measures were absent. Protocols that should have been in place were ignored. As a result, my daughter was stolen from us.
Lila was special. She was beautiful. She was pure. She was so kind. The most gentle little girl who fiercely loved her little sisters and all of her friends. A friend who preferred to shine her light on the people around her. A light she lit inside of me when she made me a mom.
Those are the parents of some of the victims of that flooding that took the lives of 27 people at Camp Mystic, where all those little girls were and where their counselors were, and then the runners of those camps were all victims. And they got a chance to talk about the things that they want to change. In the state of Texas, that same state where these Republicans just gerrymandered maps because they know that they don't give a damn about these folks that they're supposed to represent, as they stripped any kind of warning systems, funding that goes to making sure flooding victims have a chance, all the stuff that they don't care about because they're funneling money to the pockets of the billionaires that pay them and following the orders of Donald Trump. Real lives are lost. Children's lives are lost. So, I mean, I remember before when this administration was stepping in and I was saying, how about we stop acting like anything is normal about them? People's lives will be lost. They said, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. We just have to wait for the midterms. Tell these people who've lost their children how much longer they should wait as they're heartbroken.
Hadley, Harper, and all the campers should have woken up on July 4th and celebrated the holiday with their new friends. Instead, Hadley was pulled out of a window of her twins' 2 cabin after it had filled with water. Less than 10 feet away were stairs to an upstairs apartment. That higher ground could have saved her life and the 5 girls in her cabin that also passed away. Hadley wasn't the strongest swimmer, not that it mattered in those waters, but she was strong, so strong. I thought if she could hold on to something, she would be okay. Instead, she and 2 other little girls were knocked out of a tree and died. In total, 5 of the 12 girls from her cabin also died. Our precious, hilarious, kind, caring, silly, loving little girl who always wanted to help others died because there was no plan. because there was no backup system or sirens. Before Hadley left for camp, she was worried about being away from me for a month. You see, she may have her dad's personality, but she was my mini-me and my best friend. I promised her she would be safe and okay. I told her camp was the safest place she could be, and she would make new friends and learn new things. I lied to her. She not only wasn't safe, she died. We sat around for 16 hours praying, hoping, pacing, getting prank phone calls and texts from people saying they had her, for her only to be found down the road, alone. The overwhelming lack of prevention, detection, training, and response in this situation is mind-boggling, and is what we are asking SB1 to address. This is not the first flood, and it certainly won't be the last.
There's real lives connected to this. There's real lives of people who are supposed to get something for their tax dollars that they pay, and not to go to the people who pay our representatives to give them more of it and strip away National Weather Service warnings, alarm system warnings, and general approaches to the way businesses have destroyed our environment, which have caused these storms to get even more intense, and a lack of infrastructure for the way that things break down and the floodwaters spew into all kinds of areas. They don't care. You know why? Because State Representative Todd Hunter needs some more Republican opportunities for political performance. When people's children are dying, 8, 10, 12-year-olds, off to camp for the first time. If you have children, I mean, when you hear someone talk about how their child was afraid to go to camp, and you said, I promise you're going to be safe and you'll come back, and they don't, it makes you wonder, what was the last thing she was thinking? They've already set up our society to accept the deaths of children. I mean, we've watched them get shot up in schools. We've seen them dismantled by these really high-powered AR-15 rifles and AK-47s that people shoot at each other, and they'll say that's okay because it's our Second Amendment right. They already set us up to not care about children dying. So as they take all this funding from everything and call it savings and fraud, waste, and abuse, there's consequences for that, and they're not paying for it. Republican State Senator Lois Kolkhorst, and this was her response.
It's a really good reminder for all of us just in life. And I say that because I want you to know you're being heard. And you're impacting lives. This tragedy is going to impact future lives. My chief of staff said to me the other night, I can't unhear their stories. I can't unhear their stories. And that's a good thing.
I don't know where she stands on the redistricting thing. She's a state senator. She represents the Republican Party, who is all about this redistricting, this gerrymandering, because they don't care enough to represent their constituents. But she needs a really good reminder. It's a good reminder of your dead children that you found the bodies of by themselves, swept up in floodwaters. It's a really good reminder of who it is that they've been ignoring and not representing. Despite the fact that when they're alive and they're screaming at you, we want representation, they give you a middle finger and say, this guy doesn't like law and order. But when your children are dead, now they're crying, and they needed that reminder. If you needed a reminder of who it is that you're representing in the greatest country in the history of the world and all this money and the richest, everyone bringing in billions and trillions of dollars from all these tariffs and tax cuts that are going to rich people, if all that's happening, why isn't that money going to actually saving lives, preventing deaths? So I guarantee you, fewer and fewer of them will be out in the streets. Fewer and fewer of them will have town halls. Fewer and fewer of them will actually talk to people and go knocking on doors like they say real politicians do. Because one Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House, told them to stop doing those things because you don't want to hear the stories of the people whose lives you're destroying. People don't heal from stuff like this.